Hello. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations on being named a Broadcom Masters nominee. A nomination to Broadcom Masters is a huge honor. We are glad you have taken the next step in the application process by opening your application. My name is Reva Ramadorai, Program Manager for the Broadcom Masters, and I'm here with my colleague, Erin Cummins.
Hello.
We are responsible for the Broadcom Masters program, and we'll be emailing you throughout the application process.
Today, we're going to give you an overview of the Broadcom Masters program and application. We want to show you that the application isn't as scary as it may seem and can even be fun. We are always here to answer your questions. Email us at masters@societyforscience.org at any time. So let's get started. The Broadcom Math, Applied Science, Technology, and Engineering for Rising Stars, or MASTERS, is a national science fair-based competition for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students. Broadcom Masters is a program of the Society for Science and the Public, which is the organization that Reva and I work for. The Society for Science and the Public is a nonprofit dedicated to promoting the understanding and appreciation of science and the vital role it plays in human advancement, to inform, educate, and inspire. The Society does this through our publications, Science News and Science News for Students, our outreach programs, and our 3 main science competitions. The competitions are, first, the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair, which is the world's largest international pre-college science competition and is open to high school students. Next is the Regeneron Science Talent Search, which is the nation's oldest and most prestigious science and math competition for high school seniors. Finally, we have the Broadcom Masters competition, which is the one that you've been nominated for.
The Broadcom Masters competition is made possible by our friends and sponsor, the Broadcom Foundation. The Broadcom Foundation empowers young people to be STEM literate, critical thinkers, and college ready by creating multiple pathways and equitable access to achieve the 21st century skills they need to succeed as engineers, scientists, and innovators of the future. So, how do you become a Broadcom Masters finalist? The first thing you have to do in order to be considered for the Broadcom Masters is to do a science or engineering project. You then must enter your project into a society-affiliated science and engineering fair. The next step is to receive a Broadcom Masters nomination by placing in the top 10% of projects at the fair, which those of you watching have already done. Congratulations! The next big step is to complete and submit the online application by June 12th, 2019 at 8 p.m. Eastern. By watching this video, we are assuming that you have already opened an application, but if you have not, you can do so by going to broadcommasters.fluidreview.com. You can find that link in the description of this video. Once you have applied, you are in the running to become one of the top 300 masters. From those 300, the judges then select 30 finalists to come to Washington, D.C. to compete in October.
So what does it mean to be a nominee? Each affiliated fair may choose 10% of their middle school population to enter the Broadcom Masters competition online. The fairs receive a suggested rubric for judging projects and selecting nominees. Nominees then receive packets and are encouraged to apply online. After opening an application, nominees will be contacted by myself or Reva to remind you of application deadlines and other helpful information. In order to be considered for the competition, a nominee must complete our online application, which is due on June 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All entrants receive a free t-shirt and are automatically entered to win prizes like Raspberry Pis, Kindle Fires, and other cool things.
Our top 300 masters are selected by our judges and announced on September 4th. You do not need to do anything else after submitting your application to be considered for the top 300. The top 300 masters and their teachers win awards, such as a 1-year digital subscription to Science News magazine, Top 300 masters also win special prize packages, including a 1-year subscription to Mathematica Plus software, an invention journal, and much more. From the top 300 masters, 30 finalists are selected by our judges for an all-expenses-paid trip to Washington, D.C. to present their research and compete in a series of hands-on team challenges. Finalists will be announced on September 18th, and finalist week this year will be from October 25th through the 30th. Finalists can win a variety of prizes, such as iPads, funds to attend STEM summer camps, and grant awards ranging from $10,000 to our top prize, the Samueli Foundation Prize of $25,000.
We are now going to briefly go over some notes about each part of the application. For more detailed reviews on each section, check the Video Resources tab in your Fluid Review account, or ask a parent and find them on our YouTube channel. The application might seem overwhelming, but we have created resources to help you through the process. You can always email us at masters@societyforscience.org with any questions you might have. First, just a couple of general notes. To create an account, you will need a username and password provided to you by your fair. If you do not know it, send us an email and we'll be happy to help. You can work on your application as much as you want until the deadline. You do not need to complete the whole thing in one sitting. When you create your account, you will also need to set up a designated adult. This allows you to add a parent's email address. It is important to do this if you did not use a parent's email address to register. Whoever you add here will receive emails about your application and can see your work. They cannot edit it.
Part 1 of the application is the formal registration. This section asks for general demographic information and is confidential. Evaluators and judges do not see any of this information when making decisions about your application. One thing I wanted to point out was that in this section, you'll be asked if you were nominated by more than one fair, or if you've been nominated for Broadcom Masters for multiple years. Evaluators do not see this, and it does not affect their review. Part 2 is the project information section. A few notes about this section. There are word limits. The word limits are intended to give everyone equal space, and this is also great practice at concise writing. However, you do not need to use all the words in the word limit. Some general advice. Consider this section to be like a judging interview. Try answering the questions out loud and then write them out. You've probably already answered very similar questions before, so you got this. Picking a category. The project category helps us assign evaluators with the right expertise to your project. These categories may be different than those at your local fair, so if you get stuck, consider what type of expert you think would best understand the work that you have done. Project summary questions. This is your opportunity to share your science or engineering project with us, and we have tried to break it down in a way that is easy for you to do so. You should answer these questions with enough detail so the judges understand what you did, how you did it, why you chose to do the things in a certain way, and what your results were. Remember, our judges cannot see your project board.
Part 3 is the essay questions. This section is just as important as the project information section. Here you have a lot of freedom to be you. There are 3 parts to Part 3. There's about my project, about me, and solve a problem. Each question has 2 choices. You choose one to answer for a total of 3 essay questions. You can pick whichever question you feel most comfortable answering from the 2 questions. For the About My Project, this essay is a chance to communicate a brief summary of your project. We want to see how you communicate. Could someone who doesn't know anything about your project understand it? For the About Me question, we want to see how creative you are and for you to tell us all about yourself. For the Solve a Problem essay question, we don't really want you to do a lot of research. We mostly want to see how you think critically about a topic that you may not know much about. Part 4 is the personal interest section. Judges do see this, and they want to know what you're passionate about. We do ask a question about what career you think you might be interested in. It's okay if you don't know what you want to be when you grow up. Neither do we sometimes. For this question, just consider an option that might fit your goals or interests.
The next section is the science fair paperwork section. All projects should be following the Intel ISEF rules to make sure that you and any of your subjects are safe and follow ethical guidelines. Your fairs help us with this process. For the purposes of this application, we only need to see approval forms from certain types of projects. In this section, you'll complete the science fair paperwork wizard. If you did not work with any of the options listed in the wizard and selected none of the above, then you do not need to upload any forms for secondary review. If the wizard says that you do owe us forms, we need to see proof of pre-approval by a qualified adult. Send us any questions you have about this section to masters@societyforscience.org. The last section that we'll go over is the visual aid. This visual aid can only be one page. Evaluators are not allowed to review additional pages. We know that you have lots of data. Your job is to choose the graphs that are most important to summarize your results. And remember, this is not a chance to write out more about your project or essay questions. We just want to see the data that you may have had, for example, on your project board. As you're completing part 2, the project information section, you can also reference graphs, tables, or charts that you include in your visual aid. For example, when you're writing out a question, you can say, see figure 2, and the evaluators will know to look at your visual aid, figure 2.
Lastly, we want to just answer a few frequently asked questions that we receive. Firstly, do you have to enter the same project that won the nomination? Yes, this project earned you the nomination over other students and has been screened by your science fair. This way, we know that it has passed official rules. Can judges see how much time I spent on the application? The answer is no. Can I add to my project? The answer is you may do more trials of the same thing and add that to your data, but you may not do anything that changes the intent of your project. Another note, each member of a team project must submit their own application in their own words.
Thank you for watching. Remember that you can always reach out to us with questions at masters@societyforscience.org. Good luck!